Okay, so while we wait for other persons to join us, we're also waiting for our guest to join us. Should be here with us shortly. So please just exercise some patience, and then we are good to go. Okay, so good evening, ma. Welcome.
Hi,
I
good
think this is the
evening.
first time I'm actually seeing your face, but it's all
Oh,
right.
really?
It's good. Yes,
That's good.
yes, yes. All right. But thank you so much. Thank you so much. I think we have some persons who are already here. Um, we have people who are alive and they're already ready waiting. I'm really sorry that we started late. I really apologize. That's my bad. I really, really apologize. So I'm gonna go behind the scenes and then I'll let you start since I already wasted time. Thank you so
All
much.
right, that's fine. Hello, everybody. Good evening. So, my name is Lois. My name is Lois Truly, and I'm a screenwriter. I do other forms of writing, but screenwriting is what really defines me. And today, I want to talk to us about how to become better writers and basically how to sell ourselves as writers, right? Because we're all here to get better in whatever kind of writing you're doing. It doesn't matter what type it is actually, whether it's copywriting, whether it's content writing. The most important thing is that we're all here to get better. So let's talk about that, right? So the thing about writing or about getting better when it comes to writing is that it's in two different ways, right? Because we have the things that you have to do online and then the things you have to do offline because or that's the way I choose to approach it because I feel like the overhead thing that we're here to learn is how to sell ourselves better online. So I'm going to take this class in two different ways. I'm going to handle how to become better writers, generally, and then I'm going to also talk about how to, um, so to speak, become a better writer online. But that has more to do with selling yourself as a writer and all of that. So let's dive in. All right. So um, first of all, I would just like to say that everybody is about branding these days. We're all about selling ourselves, branding, and all of that. And I just want to say that as a writer, it doesn't matter what you're doing online. It doesn't matter the branding that you're doing online. It doesn't matter um, how you're packaging yourself online. If if you're not first and foremost a very good writer, that's the truth. Because no matter what you package, no matter what you sell, if you are contacted by clients to actually do your work and you can't, then that's a problem. All right. So before we go to what we should do online to sell ourselves better, to become better writers and all that, let's talk generally about what it is to be a better writer. the things that we should be doing, the steps that we should be taking. And so oftentimes I meet writers who say to me, I don't like to read. And it's always very strange to me. I'm not saying it's wrong, I'm saying it's strange to me because a writer writes words, right? So, and reading is taking in words. So, how are you a writer? How do you produce words if you don't know how to take them in, if you don't like to take them in? But then I realize, yeah, some people, maybe naturally they don't have the orientation of reading. Maybe I say that because I love reading, right? And these people who say these things, maybe they don't have the orientation of reading, they don't like reading for whatever reason. And it's a thing, right? But the first thing, the very first thing that you have to do to become a better writer is you have to read. You have to be a reader. You can't um there's no shortcut to this, right? You can't cut on us about this because, like I said, writing is producing words, it's outputting words, right? Now, reading is taking them in. And the truth is, you cannot give what you don't have. It's not, there's no film trick to this thing. You can't give what you don't have. So, the very first thing I would say you should do to become a better writer is to become a better reader. That's the very first thing. You have to read. Sorry, but you have to. You have to read. And so, this reading is in two parts. First of all, you have to read, you have to study, right? So you have to study. You have to study books, take classes about writing. You have to make your skill better because the truth is, for most of us, writing is a talent. Whether we like it or not, writing is a talent, right? But a talent is like clay. The clay, the mud we used to play with as kids. So writing is like clay. It's your talent, and that's fine. You love, you do it, you enjoy it. But the truth is, if you don't mold clay into a pot, clay is just going to be clay, right? So every talent is like that. Every talent. So it doesn't matter the talent it is. If you do not take that talent and make it into a skill, it's just talent. You could be when people read your work, they could say, "Oh, I see the potential," but you can see that this person has something. But what's going to set you apart from the next writer is the skill that you've made out of your talent. Now, how do you make a skill out of your talent? You do it by studying. You have to study. Look, take as much, whether it's online, offline classes, read writing books, whatever writing that you do. I do screenwriting. So, first of all, I read a whole lot of movie scripts. That's me. A whole lot. If your thing is copywriting, read a whole lot about copywriting. I'm telling you, there's no two ways to this. Read a whole lot about copywriting. All right. Learn. Learn to read, but learn. Gather as much knowledge as you can about writing every time that you can, actually. I'm not saying read every blessed day. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying every time that you have the chance to learn about your craft, you have to take the chance. Take the chance and learn. Just learn a lot. It will always show. It will always show in the quality of your work. People who take their time to learn and people who just say, it's just my talent. It will always show. You can always see the finesse. Something happens when you take the time to learn your craft. When you take the time to turn your talent into a skill, something happens. You start to fine tune your writing. Everything that you're supposed to know in writing becomes clearer, and your output will always show that this person is knowledgeable about what they're writing. It will always show. There's no trick to this stuff. It will show. That's why you can see writers who have the talent to write. They have the talent, but you just don't see. It's not well fine tuned. You just don't see the finesse. So it's usually obvious. So learn as much as you can about writing, about whatever part of writing that you're doing. You have to be knowledgeable about it. You have to learn. That's the first thing. And then when I said before I started this, I said that um, if the first thing to be a writer is to be a better writer is to read. So the first thing is to learn. As per read things that have to do with your writing, things that teach you. Now the second part of read. The second part to this reading is to just enjoy reading. Enjoy works of people in your field, in your particular field of writing. Enjoy their works. Enjoy, just enjoy reading. If you're a poet, enjoy reading poems, because I really don't understand how you're going to write quality poems that blow people's minds if you don't see what's out there. I don't get it. You cannot give what you don't have. It's that is just simple. So just, and this time I'm not even talking about reading to learn. I'm talking about just enjoying people's work. Because the more you get exposed to so many other people's work, the more you have a more rounded view of your skill. Like I said, talent is not skill. Talent is talent. It's the one you're born with. But it's what you do with it. It's how much you polish it, how much you fine tune it that makes it a skill, right? So just enjoy people's work. Enjoy reading. Read for the sake of it. Read everything. I'm a screenwriter, but I read a whole lot of novels. I read novels a lot. I read movie scripts a lot. And I'm not reading it to learn anything. I'm reading it because I just enjoy it. And you can learn to actually enjoy reading. I know some people don't like reading naturally, but you can actually learn to enjoy reading. So just read. You know what it does for you? It opens up your mind. It opens up your mind to see that it's not just your kind of writing that is out there. It opens up your mind to see that there's a whole lot happening out there, and you start to appreciate people's works. And the good thing is, it's a good way to learn without intending to learn. This thing about go read your books. Sometimes, once someone says go read your books, if you remember when you were a kid, once they told you go read your books, then reading your books became something huge and some huge chore. But there were sometimes that you could just pick up your own textbook. Sometimes that you could pick up your English textbooks and just read the stories in it. Nobody asked you to go and read, but you enjoyed it. So the more you read, the more you start to enjoy it, and then before you know, you just enjoy it. You know what you're getting from it. Just relax. Use it to learn how to relax. So you have to read a lot. Teach yourself to enjoy reading. That's the first thing. Oh, the first one was study, and then the second one is read. Just read for enjoyment. So the third one is to observe. So the thing is that a writer is a student of life. I mean, we're all students of life, right? Because whether you're trying to learn from life or not, life is going to teach you. The experiences will teach you. But, but as a writer, you have to be more intentional about learning from life. That's just the truth. Um, because of course, if you're a writer, there is no how you don't deal with putting out dialogue to some extent. You write stories to some extent, even if you're a copywriter. It doesn't matter what it is you're writing. Think about it. There is almost no form of writing that does not involve telling stories. Just think about it. Even if it's essay you're writing, the better you are at telling stories, the better your writing is. And if you are going to tell good stories, you have to learn, you have to be a student at life. So when you go out every day, be observant, listen to people. Don't just like be in your own world when you go out and then I'm just trying to get back home. I'm just trying to it, you're going to go through life learning nothing. So the truth is, we write about so many experiences, we're all going to write about so many experiences we've never had. That's just the truth. So, how are you going to write about characters that you've never lived their lives if you never take time to observe them? So, in your daily life, in your communication with your friends, observe. And when I say observe, it's not just about watching things happening outside your window. It's not just even like when you're talking to people, when things happen between you and your friends and all that, listen to how people react. Listen to um, the way people act in certain situations. That's you learning. You're learning from life. You're observing. So learn to be an ardent observer of life. Observe people. And the truth is you can't observe from life if you judge, if you judge everything. So learn to have an open mind to an extent or to a great extent, judge nothing and just learn. So that when you come across so many things, instead of saying, oh my God, why is she doing that? What you're saying is, why is she doing that? You see that it's different. It's two different things. So You must learn to be very observant, learn from life. It's an intentional thing. You have to tell your mind, hey, so I'm a student of life, so you're learning from everything. Well, everything that happens to you, learn from it. I'm not saying that it shouldn't hurt, I'm just saying learn from it, right? That's how you become, um, it helps you write. That's how you become a better writer. It's one way to become a better writer. It's one very easy way. Do you get? So because let's say you're a copywriter and your client wants you to write um copy for maybe their campaign is about people that live, they want to reach the grassroots, right? People that live in the ghetto or whatever, something like that. People that live in the ghetto. You've never lived in the ghetto. How are you going to write about people? How are you going to speak in a language that people who live in the ghetto will understand if you have never in your life observed people who live in the ghetto? That's why you start to see that there is actually no shortcut to this thing. You have to immerse, you have to soak yourself in everyday experiences and just take and take and take from them. So so it goes without saying, I've already said learn from life, right? Another thing about learning from life is that you can't learn from life if you're not actually um, having experiences. Here's what I mean. I mean, you can go on YouTube and watch so many things these days, and that's technology has done that, and that's great. But the truth is, there are some experiences that you will never be able to tell because you were not in that situation and you didn't feel it. So you watched it somewhere, and that's cool. But then you were not in that situation. You've never been in that situation. So when you write about said experience or when you put it in your writing, you're writing from a place of sympathy, but you will never be able to write from a place of empathy because you truly cannot imagine being in that situation because it's simple. You've never been in that situation. So I'm just saying, if you are going to be a better writer, you have to live life. See this life, you have to live it. That's the truth. You cannot. I know that most writers like to be indoors because for most of us, it's our nature. We love to be indoors. It's what we do, you know. But the truth is, you have to force yourself to leave your seat. You have to force yourself to leave your bedroom and actually go out and just have experiences. Have good experiences, have bad experiences, have weird experiences, have experiences that on a normal day you'd never have, but tell yourself, let me just do it for the experience. You know what happens? You can watch, like I said, you can watch everything that you want to watch on YouTube, right? But there are some situations that when you write from the place of where you've been physically, from a situation that you've been in, if I read that thing that you wrote and watch someone who has never been in that situation but heard the gist wrote, I will always know the difference. The difference will always be there. You have to be such a terrible writer to go through a situation and you're a writer. And then someone who has never ever been in that situation at all will write it better than you. That means that your writing is irredeemable at that point. So you have to go out and have experiences, live life. Because, like I said, your life becomes richer. I said writing is putting out words, right? It's putting out stories, it's putting out characters, it's creating words, whether you like it or not. No matter the kind of writing, you're creating fictional words, you're creating real words and all that. But the truth is, you're not living in that world, right? So you have to have rich experiences from the world you live in to be able to create all these things more effectively. Go out and live. I'm telling you, as hard as it is, it's hard for me too. It's hard for me too because I'm an ambivert, but I prefer, like, I'm more of an introvert. So I'd rather just sit in my house. I don't want to go out. I don't want to see anybody. That's my nature. But I know that my job demands that when my friend says, Lois, I want to sleep on the beach overnight. Why? Just for the experience. I will go because I'm a writer. And what if I'm going to write about a character who slept on the beach overnight someday? So like I said, you have to have experiences. So there is this part of being things that help writers that I don't think I see people talk about it a lot. But the thing is, writing is very mental. I'm sure we all know that we're writers. It doesn't matter the kind of writing that you're doing. Writing is it's your emotions, right? It's your emotions. You engage your emotions to write. If you're going to the whole point of storytelling is to move people's emotions, is to make people feel. That's the truth. It doesn't matter what kind of story that you're telling. The person reading it is supposed to feel things when they read from you. That's how you know that you've written a good story. It doesn't matter if that story is in 5 words, you're writing a story. So people are supposed to feel. So the question now is, how do you make people feel if you never feel anything? See, being a Nigerian, I can confidently tell you that this our environment, it hardens us because unless you come from a very rich family and you've lived your whole life protected from the nonsense of this place, most of the things that you will go through harden you because you're always like on the defense, like, okay, they got me this time, they're not going to get me next time. So this environment hardens you. I get that. But the truth is, if you're going to be a writer, you have to learn how to feel things. It's going to be painful because emotions, trust me, emotions are not they can be messy, and that's all right. But the truth is, you can't make people feel what you can't feel. You can't. If you've never in your life felt love, never, you've never been in love, you've never you've never met someone who, when you wake up in the morning, the first thing you want to do is speak to them. If you've never felt that, I bet you, I'm willing to prove my money to bet you that you can't make someone else feel that. And that's the truth. So you have to put yourself in a place where you're vulnerable enough to feel. I don't want to sound preachy because I'm not a preacher, but I don't know what it is that's happened to you that hardened you, but you have to let it go. You have to be someone who soaks up emotions. I'm telling you, it's hard, but it can be managed. It's doable. But the truth is, when you get to that place where you're confident enough to go through your emotions, feel your emotions, stop shutting them out. That's basically what I'm saying. When you go through stuff, feel them, allow yourself feel them. You will heal. Don't worry. So it will be painful for that long, like whatever amount of time you need to heal, but you're going to heal. But the truth is, if you become this insensitive wall because you're trying to protect your heart, you're trying to protect your head and all that, you can't you can't translate emotions on paper unless you can feel them. That's the truth. So it's the more mental part of being a writer. But the truth is, writing is very mental anyway. So if you're going to deal with the physical, like if you're going to deal with reading, studying, experiencing things from the outside, then you should also deal with what happens inside your head. It's very, very important, right? Because that's where I keep telling people my most attractive feature is my mind, because that's where I rise from. If anything goes wrong here, it's over. So it's very simple. You must be able to feel things. If you do, I don't know whether you're a poet, whatever kind of writing you do, if you can let yourself actually go and feel your emotions. First of all, let me just point out that it takes guts to let yourself feel things. You have to be brave to let yourself feel things because emotions can be very painful. So if you can do that, if you can get to a place where you let yourself go and feel emotions, give yourself some time and watch the quality of your writing from when you didn't used to feel anything. Just watch it. It's very important. It is very, very important. So another thing that can help you to become a better writer. When I started writing newly and I was doing a whole lot of research, I would always come across this advice: write every day. Fam, do not write every day. Whatever you do in this life, don't write every day. It's terrible advice. You know why? So the thing is, writing is like, imagine you're writing as a drum of water, right? And every day you take away from that drum of water. You keep taking away, keep taking away. And you never slow down to put back everything you've been taking away. What do you think is going to happen? You run out. You run out. At some point, you're going to be like, you know what? I'm over this. It will become a chore. So while writing is your work, you're supposed to enjoy writing no matter what. Even you, in your journey, think about it. There are some times in your career where you stop enjoying what you're putting out, and you can feel it. You can see that the words are not the same. It becomes tedious. It becomes work. You know. So if you write every day, what do you think is going to happen? It will become work. So I don't think that the advice to write every day is correct. I think it's, in theory, it's correct, but I think that there should be times where you're not writing. Please make sure that you set out times to rest your mind. Do not write. Do not do anything that has to do with writing. Just rest and let your mind just, like, let your mind come back from all the writing you've been doing, because writing is putting out stuff. So you have to give yourself time to recuperate. It's not easy. Writing is hard work. So please don't write every day. That's what I'm saying. But what you can do is to set a schedule. So the thing is that people say, yeah, writing is your talent. I get that. But writing is also your work. Let's not forget that. So for it not to feel like too much work, try and set writing schedules. Here's what I mean. Instead of saying write every day, what you can do is that you say, okay, so when I wake up in the morning, before anything else disturbs my mind, before I go out and join the madness of the day, I will dedicate 1 hour, for example, 3 times a week, 4 times a week to my writing. And you try and stick to that schedule. Try. Because when you stick to the schedule, what will happen is that your mind will start to think of writing. You know, the way you think of going to the office, you get up every day, you do it. At first, when you get a new job, it's hard. The first few days, it's hard to wake up in the morning and then just dress up and go to work. But then after 2 weeks, you find yourself doing it. After 2 weeks or three, you don't think about it, just get up and go to work. So it's not hard anymore at that point, right? Unless you now start to hate your job. Now that's a different ball game. But the point is that the more you set writing schedules, the more you say, okay, so before I go to bed on so days of the week, I'm going to write for 1 hour. I'm going to write for 1 hour. So what happens is that if you said that, when it's time, actually go somewhere physical. It's better if you're not on your bed. If you have a writing space, if you have, please, it doesn't have to be like a full room or something. Just, it could be a table and a chair at the corner of one corner of your house. Just sit down there and shut the world out and write. And write for how many hours, how many minutes you set for yourself. So what happens is that if you stick to that schedule, before you know it, when you don't write at that time, your mind will start telling you you need to write. You need to write. And that's how before you know it, you have like work put out and all that. You make it a job. That's what I'm saying. Yes, I know that we work from home. I know that the bed is just there, the couch is just there and everything, but for you to actually be productive, you have to take it as a job. Put it in your head as a job. And the way to do that is to set schedules. And like I said, the schedules don't have to be every day. Please remember that part of the schedule is, you know what, today, please, I'm not writing. Don't forget. It's very important. So set a schedule and stick to it as much as you can. I know it's never perfect. Don't worry. But just stick to it as much as you can. It's important. Right? So, out of all these things I just talked about, the most important one, the most important part of writing, as far as I'm concerned, is to take care of your mental health. Like I said, my mind is my powerhouse. That's my whole work engine. If anything happens to this mind, I cannot write. So you have to take care of your mental health. Part of taking care of your mental health is taking walks in the sun. Leave that bed, leave that room, and actually go out. Like, step outside. No, seriously, the sun actually helps your, how do they call it, happy hormones. Is it serotonin, something like that? So it triggers the release of those hormones and just makes you feel better. So your mental health is extremely important. You have to stay out of situations or life situations that mentally stress you. You have to stay away from people that tell you you can't. It's important. No, don't join them. Don't, just leave them alone. They don't understand your journey, and that's fine. Your writing is a very lonely journey. It's a very, very lonely job. So it's fine if people don't understand. You have to take care of your mental health, right? Whether it's by, like I already said, whether it's by exercising, getting in some hours of exercising some day, or minutes of exercising on some days. I'm struggling with this one, but I know that it's important because our job requires sitting down. Whether you're writing at home or you're writing in the office, your job requires sitting in one place. So it's bad for your heart. It's bad for our hearts to sit in one place all the time. So part of taking care of your mental health is to take care of your body. It's important, right? So go out, get some sun, stay away from stressful situations. Be very wary of people that you let into your space, because people that you let into your space to a large extent determine how far you're going to go. Do you get? So I'm going to take myself as an example. When I started writing, um, how do I put it? So my mom is very supportive. But then she's still old school. So sometimes she'll be like, are you sure this writing is not paying? Are you sure you don't want to take another job and all that? So you know what I did? I stopped complaining to her about the writing. I started complaining to my sister because she was more supportive. I know my mom doesn't hate me. She was just worried for me because she knew that the fact that I wasn't making any money was making me sad. So I just said, you know what? I understand that you don't hate me. I understand that you're trying to help, but your style of helping is not helping me as a writer. So I just moved the person I always complain to someone else. And when things got better, then I went back to my mom, and then she understood at that point. But then I did not want to hear any voice telling me stop because I was already discouraged. And it was important that what was going on in my head was positive, or I would have dropped out. So, so please, whatever you're going to do, just don't forget that your mental health as a writer is extremely important. Because if anything happens to your mind, it's over. It's over. So please take care of your mind as you're taking care of what happens on the outside. This is very important. All right. So I said that I would divide this whole study into two. What you should do offline to make your writing better, and then what you should do online. So we've taken care of our mental health. Um I conclude the things you should do offline to be better writers. So just to give us a rundown, I said you have to study. Whatever the first thing I said was to be a better writer, you have to study. You have to study your craft. You have to hone your skills. You have to learn your craft. The second thing I said, you have to be a reader. You have to enjoy reading. You have to enjoy reading just for fun. Okay. And then the third thing that I said was you have to observe the world. You have to be an observer of the world. Then I said you have to go out and actually live these experiences. It's not enough to just observe other people's experiences. You have to go out and actually live the experiences. Then I said you have to let yourself feel. You have to be vulnerable, right? That's how you can make other people feel. And then I said set a work schedule. It's important because it helps you start to see your writing as a job. Even if you don't have any projects yet, even if you don't have anybody hiring you yet, I definitely do not write every day, but set a work schedule. It will help you, right? Then I said, take care of your mental health. Most importantly, take care of your mental health. So those are the things that you should do offline on your own to be a better writer. So let's bring this online, shall we? Because we're in a digital age and it is what it is. There are no two ways about it. So everything that you're doing offline, let me just state it clearly. Depending, the degrees of what I'm about to say will depend on what kind of writing you do, right, professionally. But the truth is, everything you do offline will probably not matter if nobody out there knows what you do and nobody is hiring you. First of all, Writing generally is not a very, it's not a job that pays that well. You have to know the level you've gotten to, and then you start to earn the big bucks and all that stuff. Generally, writing is not a very profitable job. We get that. We get that. So how do you help yourself? So you know all these things that you should do offline. So how will people see that this is what you do? How do they now hire you? They're not going to come to your house to hire you because you're a good writer and you took lessons. No, it's not going to happen. You're going to have to find a way to sell yourself. So apart from, of course, as you're writing, you're telling people word of mouth, this is what I do, in case you know someone that does this. No, really, when you go out, make sure that you're selling yourself. What do you do? I'm a writer. Oh, I'm a screenwriter. In case you want to do a movie or you know anybody who wants to produce a movie. I'm a copywriter. In case your company needs, sell yourself. But that's offline, right? But the truth is that so many people these days are going online to hire whatever it is that they're looking for. So many people, even jobs that didn't used to be online, people go online these days to hire these skills. So you have to sell yourself online. You have to. Now, here's the thing, there are so many writers online. So, how do you set yourself apart? What's going to make you different? What's going to make someone say, oh, okay, I like this person. This person is a writer. I like this person. I want to work with this person. Do you do that by just doing your own thing, just posting your pictures with your family, and that's it? How are they going to know you're a writer? So, I think that before you even think about what you should put out, what you should right, or how you should brand yourself online, you should learn how to brand yourself. So what I would say is, no matter the kind of writing you do, no matter the kind of writing you do, I don't know if you got that. I said the first thing that you should do is to follow people who you think are successful in your kind of writing. It's important because they have to be doing something right, right? So why not just follow them? Go online, see how they branded themselves, see what did they do, what is it that is working for them. Don't be shy. See, nobody knows it all. Don't be shy to admit that you have no idea what branding is about. It's fine. Read, follow those people and see what they're doing. They don't have two heads. They don't have two heads. It's the same thing that they do that you do. The only difference is nobody knows you yet. Nobody knows me yet. So so go and check what it is that they're doing. Look at their page. What do they post? What do they talk about? You know. So it's important. Follow them. Even if you're not following them, I mean, even if you're not literally clicking on the follow button, I mean, look at what they're doing online. See the ones that fit into your person, the ones that you should do, the ones that you can do. And copying is very much allowed. Trust me, it is very much allowed. Whether you're copying the way the page looks or the kind of things that they post is fine, as long as you're not going to literally steal their post and copy. I mean, copying their style is fine. All right. So follow your thought leaders in your field of writing, learn what they're doing. Now, it doesn't matter what what kind of writing you do, right? Obviously, find a niche. By what I mean by a niche is what is it that you do? Like, okay, so I'm a screenwriter, right? But I also write different things. Not only scripts I write, I also write different things for people sometimes. I write articles sometimes, I write essays for people sometimes. But online, I don't want to be known as someone who writes articles and all that. What I want to be known as online, when someone Googles my name, what I want them to see is screenwriter. So, of course, if you go to my social media pages, you're going to be seeing screenwriting stuff. Do you get? So it just makes more sense because the truth is, like I said, when people Google you or people search for you online, it's the things that you put online that they're going to find. They're not going to come to your house to see what you're saying. So whatever it is that you want people to know about you, whatever kind of writing you want to be known for, put out content about it online. It's a niche. So find a niche and then be very loud about it. See, You know this thing that people say, I don't like to boast, I don't like to blow my own trumpet. Blow your own trumpet. And it's very important for writers to blow our trumpets even more, because writing is such an underground job. you know there is no part of writing that is glamorous. Let's be honest. Even think about the biggest movie that you watched in the cinemas recently, or Netflix or something. You have to actually go and search for the writers to see them, right? But then for the actors, they are there in your face. You didn't have to search. You watched them for 2 hours, so you didn't have to search for anything. So the thing is, because it's such an underground job, you have to be loud. You have to be extra loud about what you do. If it's that one job that they gave you, if possible, create 10 contents from that one job that you did, that one credit to yourself. Man, blow that thing up. Talk about it as much as you have to be loud about your craft. Nobody's going to do it for you, because the sad thing, so many parts of writing, the people that hire you won't even talk about you. I think if you're a writer, you understand what I mean. Like I said, producers, people who produce movies. I'm talking about screenwriting because that's what I do. People who produce movies. If you think I'm lying, go on Instagram, choose any random producer, or okay, let's say choose five. Out of that five, I can bet you that at least three, at least though, because it's possible that five of them will not do what I'm saying. At least three do not mention the names of their screenwriters when they're talking about their movies. So what happens is that the screenwriters now go and repost whatever post it was, and then insert their own names. And that's just like that's just it's wrong, but that's just what it is. Which is why you have to be loud about your craft online. You have to sell your market. All right. So another way to brand yourself is to sell something. Now, here's what I mean. I don't mean you should literally go and sell. I don't mean you should literally go and sell a class or something. You can do that, but what I mean is that have it's okay in branding. It's called making yourself a thought leader, right? In writing, I would say sell something. Whether what you're selling is oh let's say now when you come to my page, you're going to get screenwriting tips. When you come to my page, you're going to get copywriting tips. When you come to my page, you're going to get. The point is that you are selling something. You're saying, I have knowledge about so part of writing, or so thing, right? Some people don't even want writing pages, and that's fine. But I'm just saying, sell something, right? So whatever it is that you're selling, whether it's a skill, whether it's knowledge, whatever it is that you're selling, but just sell something. You know what it does for you is that you are forced to constantly make um posts about that thing. So whatever it is that you're selling, just be consistent with it, right? That's what selling something forces you to do. It forces you to be consistent. So it's important, if you're going to brand yourself online, sell something. Just find something. What that thing that you said, it might be poems, it might be your thing. Okay, I'm a poem writer. Just keep at it. That's my point. Just keep at it. Keep doing it. All right. Another way of branding yourself on. Oh, don't forget that selling something makes you a thought leader. So it's one thing to say, "Oh, I'm a screenwriter" and all that. It's one thing, but most times people will remember you because they know you as that guy that is always teaching people about. See, as that guy that sold that course about, it somehow keeps your name longer in people's minds and mouths. That's another profit of selling something, another gain to that. So another way to brand yourself online is to build a community. So for some people, it could be like they have their own personal pages, and then they have a writer's page for their crafts, a page for their crafts. Or it's like it's like bringing people to that pages. Some people go as far as opening writing WhatsApp groups, But the point is that building a community, it doesn't only help people that you're building a community for. It helps you, because, like I said, writing is a lonely job, right? But it doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be so lonely, because it's easier to get encouraged when you're in the midst of people who understand your journey, who understand your craft. That's the truth. It's very much easier. So when you build a community, what happens is that on the days that you don't feel like enough, on the days that you don't feel like you can do this, you have a group of people who even if they are not helping you out, literally helping you out with writing or something, but the fact that they're just telling you, I understand what you're going through is enough. Like I said before, take care of your mental health. This is part of taking care of your mental health. So even if you don't want to build a community, you can join one. This is as a side note. You can join one. It's important. It's better. Like I said, I know writing is lonely, but it doesn't have to be that bad. That's all I'm saying, right? So, but another way of branding yourself is to build a community. It's a good thing. Like I said, it makes you a thought leader. It places you in that position that when people think, I need someone who can, gather up writers for me or something, they think about you. It helps your journey, helps writers' journey, and it helps you um, establish yourself as a name in whatever field of writing that you're doing. All right. So that's one. Another one is to tell a story. See, it doesn't matter the kind of writing that you do. It doesn't matter how big you are or how small you are. People will always connect to a story. That's why, like I said, every writing is telling a story. So online, try and tell a story. Now the story, when I say tell a story, it doesn't always have to be captions. Your story, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying every time you make a caption, then it has to be a full story about your life. No, no, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that you, as a person, you're a story, right? What's that story? Tell it. Tell a story that people can connect to. You're a story. Your writing journey is a story. Your friends are stories. Tell a story almost all the time. Tell a story as much as you can. It will. I'm not. One thing that a story does for you is that it gives you a personality. Let me put it that way. Telling a story, being a writer who thinks in terms of story, gives you a personality, right? And all of this stuff, all these tips to brand yourself online, none of them will be effective if first of all you don't ask yourself, so what am I trying to say online? What story am I telling? Who am I? The particular message you want to pass online is important. So excuse me. So you have to think, you have to sit down and be very, very intentional about it. Who do I want to be online? When people search for me, what do I want them to see? And then tell that story. It's very important. Tell that story. So, like I said, like I said earlier, be very loud about your writing. Being loud about your writing also helps you to build a portfolio. If you do one job, talk about that thing. See, I'm serious. Talk about that thing as if your life depends on it, as if your money depends on it, because sometimes it does. But apart from being loud about it, you're also building a portfolio. You're also telling people, this is what I do. I have proof. That's portfolio. You can build a portfolio from the jobs that you've done. You can build a portfolio from um, volunteering for people. Let's say now you're a copywriter, right? And you know a friend with a business. It wouldn't kill you to volunteer for your friends. Tell your friend, look, I'm a copywriter. Let me handle your, whatever, whatever. Then handle it. Volunteer. People before people start to hire you, and it's one very unfair thing about life. People will hire you when they see proof of what you've done. Now, as a new writer, nobody has hired you. How are you supposed to provide proof? Make your portfolio yourself. Seriously, if you know a friend, let's say you're a screenwriter, and you know a friend who wants to shoot a short film, it won't kill you to write that short film for free for them. Please, I'm not saying make your career out of doing free stuff because that's not how you're not going to make a living like that. But I'm just saying build your portfolio. It's important, right? Because it's one thing to say I'm a writer, it's another thing to show it. And what people are going to hire will be the proof that you're a writer. It's not your face they're coming to see. It's what your hands can do, it's what your mind can do. So find a way to build that portfolio, even if jobs are not coming yet. If you know that you want to be a content writer, You want to write articles and stuff, and you know, anybody who owns a website, for example, he won't kill you to say, look, okay, so I know you guys don't have money. Let me do this for you. It's a way to build portfolio. Now, when people ask, okay, so what have you written? You can send them that link, right? You can always do that. You can, if you have money to start your own website, free blogging sites. There are many free blogging sites. You can do that. It's a portfolio. That's if this is your own part of writing. So it's important. So, um, the most what I consider the most important part of um, branding yourself, or at least one of the most, is to expose yourself to content. You know, it's almost the same thing as when I said you have to read. It's almost the same thing. So to expose yourself to very diverse content, you cannot constantly be on, let's say, the American part of social media, and you want to be a social media content manager or something. You will only think that way. But if you broaden your horizon, if you watch and listen to a whole lot of different kinds of content, it opens up your mind, right? And even when you put out content, when you do your own stuff, it will be obvious that okay, this person is well grounded. So that's what I have today for becoming a better writer, both online and offline. I can see Jadis. So
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, man.
all
Thank you
right.
so much. Most of the things you actually said, being a writer myself, a content writer, I could relate to a whole lot, especially when you talk about your mother not being supportive.
Well,
Not really my
worrying
mom,
about
but
us,
he was asking me like,
mothers, our parents.
"What do you say you do again?" Like he kept asking me that like time after time, and I'll tell him I write copies for people. I was like, I don't understand this thing that you're doing. So, but after a moment when money started coming in, trickles of money started coming in, and I started giving him helping around in the house, he started letting me be. So I could relate to it. Um, one thing that you said that actually shocked me was when you said something about being that writing every day doesn't really help. I think I can relate to that because right now I'm at that stage in my life where writing is now becoming like work. I used to enjoy writing, but now these days it just feels like a chore. It feels like
See?
I'm actually working.
Yeah.
So but I do have a question before you leave us, ma. Thank God you're a screenwriter. I did a post sometime telling people about how I feel we don't have enough screen writers because a lot of scripts I see these days are seriously annoying. And as a writer, I know we can do better. You see people write something like Ada and the Snake Girl, the king who slept with the palace maid, and all kind of funny headings and funny storylines that in fact at the time I won't lie, I had to stop watching Nigerian movies because somebody I was watching with a lady and the lady was saying that this kind of movies make somebody dumber. And I somehow I agree. There are some Nigerian movies that can make you less intelligent than you are when you watched it. So I actually agree. But we have a lot of Nigerian writers that are that have gotten themselves names like Chimamanda and they have books. So I was trying to say, why not some screenwriters can find one of those books, write a screen, as in write a story about that book, turn that book into like a movie. We have great writers like Harry Potter. Harry Potter was a storybook, but somebody turned into a movie. Most of these Lord of the Rings, there were
Yeah.
books, novels. People just turned them into something that could be read. And we have Nigerian writers. We have a lot of writers, China Chebe, Things Fall Apart, The Arrow of God, No Longer at Ease. We can. I know there are actually some movies about some of these things, but we can actually do better now that technology is here to help us. But
Sure.
then somebody now said a comment on my post that most screenwriters have the skill, but they don't know how to go about it. I don't know. Being a screenwriter, can you tell us from experience what do you think about it?
Um. Okay. So first of all, there wouldn't be screenwriters writing Ada and the Snake Girl if there weren't producers who were demanding for Ada and the Snake Girl. Let's start from there. So it doesn't matter how talented a writer is, the great ideas that they have. We must also keep in mind that they are writing to serve what producers ask of them. So the question should be, why is it that producers think Ada the Snake Girl is the best thing to produce? Why can't they produce Chino Achebe? That's another way to look at this thing. So, and also, it's not so easy to just, I can't just go and write Chimamanda's book. I have to get, there's something is called some sort of permission. So it's a contract. You have to do that. So here's the thing. It's one thing to be able to get Chimamanda to say, okay, you can write my book. It's another thing to see a producer that will say, okay, I have enough money to produce Chimamanda's book. That's the problem. So, like I said, it's hard to write things. Me as a writer, I keep telling writers, look, you should branch out, write what you want and all that, but you also have to write what people will buy and produce. Because if you keep writing, for example, I cannot write a script where someone is blowing up an airport. No producer is going to touch that script with a 10-foot pole, and that's just the truth. But I would love to blow up an airport in my script because that's the kind of movies I watch. I watch action movies a lot. But who is going to buy it? Should I now starve because I want to fulfill my creative desires? It doesn't make any sense. I'm just going to be frustrated as a writer real quick. So it's a two-way thing. Of course, writers should do better. I agree. But also, we have to consider the reality on ground for these writers. So, like I said, two-way thing.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much. I'm really
Very well.
honored. Thank you so much. So
I'm glad.
I think we have come to the end of today's session with my Lois. Is it Lois or Louis? Sorry, so I don't pronounce it wrongly.
It's Lois.
Okay, Lois. Okay, all right. So thank you so much, man, for honoring this invitation.
You're
Um,
very
it
welcome.
means a lot. It really means a lot. I know that you were contacted at a very short time and you still made through. So thank you so
Yeah.
much. Thank you so much. All right. Do
Thank
have a
you. Thank you
pleasant
for
night.
having me. All
All
right.
right.